start with our first panel session, talking about decentralized AI Infra 101. And I'm giving away the mic to our community manager, Icey, who will host this panel.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hi. Okay, so I'm Icey, the community manager of MagnetAI, and I hope you found Luke's sharing insightful and inspiring. And Luke, thank you again for sharing your visions with us. And you really set the stage on fire for the next discussion. Okay, so in the next 30 minutes, our discussion will focus on the infrastructures that support decentralized AI, its importance, and the innovation driving this field forward. I'd like to introduce our esteemed panelists first. So we have Brendan, right? Brendan from Masa, he's Masa's co-founder. And we have Clara, the founding officer from Filecoin Foundation, and Nicholas, co-founder of DePHY. And you know Luke already, Luke from MagnetAI. He's our founder. Okay, so we'll explore how these projects contributing to the decentralized AI and blockchain, and discuss the challenges and the innovations that lie ahead. So as a starting, please introduce yourself to us and give us a quick overview of your project and how it relates to today's topic. Okay? So
I'll go first. I'm Luke. You already know me, and you probably will know a little bit about MagnetAI already. So we're building the first ModelFi protocol. It's a mutual protocol, and on one hand, we provide we enable those AI creators to tokenize their models, and on the other hand, we allow the users to trade those model tokens and share various ownership. So I'll just pass the questions to our guests. Talk a little bit more.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Brendan from Masa. Masa, we're building a decentralized network for AI where people earn by contributing data. And what we mean by that is anyone, anywhere can build anything with any data in the world. We have a network made up of about 52,000 nodes that are active today. You as a user or a worker in one of those nodes can come connect a login, a scraper, or something like that to one of these worker nodes and provide data into the network. So things from Twitter data. We have a Fuck You Elon product, which essentially is reverse engineering Twitter's APIs. You can put your login to a node and then query any data in an unlimited sense from Twitter. And that's great. Like anything from hashtag sentiment, and all of this is collected, reprocessed, and structured using large language models that are, again, hosted by our workers. So flexible way of structuring JSON objects, and then made available to developers on demand in real time. And you can use that for fine-tuning or training AI models, anything that requires real-time access to data that's from public or private sources. That's Masa.
Oh. Hi, everyone. I'm Clara Tsao. I'm the founding officer of the Filecoin Foundation. For those not familiar with Filecoin, we are one of the earliest decentralized physical infrastructure projects in the blockchain world. We have over 3,000 storage providers building their own data centers, and we are the largest decentralized storage network today. So instead of storing your data somewhere centralized like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, we offer users the ability to store their data in a more resilient and decentralized way. And so if you imagine the types of data we store, AI is so much compute and data. A self-driving car, for example, produces nearly 4 terabytes of data an hour. And so all of that needs to be stored somewhere and also in a place that can be trusted. And that's where we come in. We've been storing AI data for years, and also existing data that a lot of language models today are relying off of. And we want to make sure that stays trustworthy and also resilient.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicholas, the co-founder of DePHY. So at DePHY, we are building a DePHY messaging layer that helps to cut the cost of developing DePHY projects by 95%. And how we collab with AI is because we have 2 decentralized GPUs building on DePHY's tech stack. And something we are working on right now is because we have a messaging layer for deeping data. So we are building a decentralized AI training AI data marketplace so that people can leverage our deeping data source to build decentralized AI applications. And before that, I was doing a PhD at Harvard doing surgical robotics. Nice to meet everyone.
Wow, thank you all. Awesome. I really love the thinking of how your projects give. So I'm excited to dig in a little bit more. So getting back to the topic itself, I think we should clarify what exactly is decentralized AI infrastructure. Okay, so this question is for Luke. Luke, can you describe the infrastructure of decentralized AI from a user perspective? What do you think is the most important part of the infrastructure for MagnetAI's protocol stack?
Okay, thanks. So, from a user's perspective, it's definitely like different from the overall infrastructure. So we believe the users, for example, to use and list or create those bots are not only happens in the AI future world. We believe own your own bots is like it's like definitely like a very fundamental elements in the future AI world, and so that's why we came up with the idea of MagnetAI. So the whole ModelFi is about how you can own your own bots and how the users can participate into your bots or his bots or her bots. And then it can be like, share the various ownership with each other, like revenues and many, many others. So we believe the very important, like the key part of our protocol from the user's perspective is definitely about our second layer model economy. So it's all about the model tokenization and the token minting management and also the chat monetization.
Okay, so now that we have a user perspective on the infrastructure, and let's shift to the next perspective, that is fundamental layer of decentralized AI. Okay, so that's for Brandon and Clara, this question. We know both Filecoin and Masa provide fundamental layers for AI data and compute networking, right? So can you explain what parts make up the decentralized AI infrastructure and how they interrelate?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of link to what Luke was saying about why we're all here. So we're all here because we believe that decentralization can fundamentally transform the world in some way. If we look at where AI is today in its evolution, we're at the start of what is like the next 9-year cycle, taking us to the end of 2028, 2029, which will be our peak of this particular funding cycle and technology cycle like we completed maybe 3 or 4 years ago in traditional tech. So if we look at what has to happen and the opportunity in AI right now is to bring alignment of incentives into the space and create opportunity throughout the entire stack. That opportunity can be for builders, it can be for end users, it can be for people that contribute value to the network. You have all these critical pieces of the stack that are up for grabs right now. Like everybody in this room can contribute and build today in this space to earn money and have a vote in the future and a stake in the future. So we look at what the stack looks like around that. You've got your data layer and a storage layer for that data. You've got your inference and your models that provide the ability to act and operate on that data in a way that gives you an intelligent human-like response. And you've then got the human interface, which is your kind of gateway to this world. And when you think of infrastructure today, there's huge opportunity in how you run both the model, how you interact with the model from compute, and then how you do storage in a really creative way. And what we're doing at Masa is feeding in the data. So you've always got trustworthy data that is shared collectively in the ecosystem. It's not owned by one central party that might be Anthropic or OpenAI. Like we all probably saw the increase of performance of 4.0, where it's been trained on all of our prompts using it. That should be made available to everybody to get that value and benefit. But I'll pass over.
Yeah, to expand on Brendan and Luke, again, there's 3 layers of data, and I'll actually give explicit examples. So specifically on the data layer, you can imagine for us storing the data and also the types of people today that collect data, right? From self-driving car companies that have sensors in so many areas to actually collect, to banks today that are trying to use AI to detect fraud. And not only that, but also make intelligent decisions on that data that's collected at the time of upload or the amounts of transactions that users today are using. You also have the model layer. And a couple of examples for AI models include, for example, if you wanted to build an email spam filter, you have to use machine learning to really set the filters you want to be able to detect what is spam and what is not. You also have image recognition, which is really important at the model layer. So if you guys remember the TV show Silicon Valley, there's a joke, is this a hot dog or not a hot dog? Right? And so today people also want to verify where is that source of data coming from and making sure that it comes from a trustworthy source and isn't manipulated in some way. And finally, we have the application layer. So you could imagine the application layer like if you wanted to build your own personal assistant like a Siri or an Alexa, you can then serve up an application that actually reaches users. Another example of this is, let's just say you love to trade stocks and you want to make predictions on stocks in the future, you can build a web application at the application layer to do just that. So there are so many amazing use cases of AI today. At the end of the day, the big challenge most people are facing is how to trust AI, and trust for us really comes from the source of how a data is stored and also that resiliency layer. And with Filecoin, we use a consensus mechanism called proof of storage that allows us to verify that data has not been altered at any point in time, and also the amount of changes to data over time. And so I think this is going to be a really important part as we think about the growth of data and also especially the growing amount of companies and people building AI applications.
Wow, awesome, awesome. Okay, so with a clear understanding of the fundamental components, let's explore how off-chain solutions integrate into this infrastructure. So this is for Nicholas. We know DeFi is building the off-chain networking for DePHY apps, right? Okay, so from your perspective, what infrastructure is needed for decentralized AI? And does it include the decentralized GPU network that DeFi provides?
That's a really good question. I think, as we all see, the data is a new oil for this century. Definitely, the GPU is where you can process a bunch of data. And the most important infrastructure I think we need in the Web3 right now is a way to verify the verifiability of those GPUs. I think everyone has seen the IONET drama where they were claiming to have 500K GPUs, but they weren't able to prove they have, let's say, 1,000 GPUs. I think that's something this industry really need. If we want to decentralize everything, we need to have a way to verify that. And at DeFi, we were built to solve this issue by introducing our universal device ID, in which we're giving an ID for each of our certified hardware, and also for each of our each of the GPUs running on DeFi's network, we are running a test to testing the performance, the usability of the GPU to make sure the projects on our ecosystems, they are not lying on their GPUs. I think this is the most important infrastructure.
Wow, thank you. Oh, okay. So having covered the infrastructure, it's crucial to understand the why behind the decentralizing AI, right? So why does AI need decentralization? That's a question. What are the key benefits behind decentralized AI? Yeah, we can start with anyone. It's for everybody's question. Yeah.
So why do we need decentralized AI? I kind of started on this. We're already entering this phase of incredible exponential growth around this technology. Every single day, stuff is getting faster. There's increasing IQ in models. The pace is absolutely relentless. And if we're not careful, we're going to create a ton of inequality in this market. So in order to have what we call a Masa fair AI, it is predicated around building systems and models that have an alignment of incentives. And what I mean by that is every contributor and participant in these networks is fundamentally aligned around a model where if you give value to the network, you get rewarded. If you take value from the network, you similarly have to give value back to it. And for the first time in the last human history, with something that is as big as AI, to human history in the same way the Industrial Revolution was 100 years ago, whenever it was. We have an opportunity from the ground up to build a system that works for everybody. We couldn't do it with banking. Bitcoin had to come in and disrupt it. We couldn't do it for programmable money with Ethereum. Ethereum had to come in and disrupt it. For the first time, we can do this in parallel and build systems where people can opt out, where open source can be funded, where systems can be transparent. And it's our responsibility to build that and not have a duopoly of OpenAI, Anthropic, and or Google dominating and owning everything. So that's the reason.
Awesome.
I also wanted to jump in. If you guys don't know, this year is the year where there's going to be the most amount of elections all around the world. And one of the biggest challenges today, and a lot of people are thinking about this, from politicians to everyday voters, and I actually used to work in election security in US government, so this was very, very close to my old world, is really how you can trust information online today and how you can verify it over time. And for us, that is really one of the most compelling reasons for why we really need to verify AI. If you imagine the amount of deepfakes and manipulation around what politicians have said online today, this is an enormous problem that really erodes our ability to even participate in democracy. I was working in election security in 2016 when a lot of foreign influence operations were happening in US government. And at that point in time, you really had to verify where data was coming from. Was it coming from a Russian bot farm, or was it coming from an everyday American voter? And this is something that isn't a new problem. We've had terrorist organizations organize physical protests pretending to be Americans. This happened in 2016 to have huge outcomes. And so at the end of the day, one of the best benefits of really proof of space-time and our ability to store data on networks like Filecoin is the ability to verify where that source of information or data is coming from. And it's going to even get more challenging as AI becomes more and more sophisticated. We actually use our technology a few years ago at the start of Ukraine-Russia war, when journalists on the front lines needed to verify that those images really came from the ground, and those images can actually be one day used in international criminal court. So we worked with a number of human rights organizations in Ukraine to make sure that those photographic evidence are admissible and that we can show that those images came from the primary devices they said they were. And so there are so many use cases, but for me, it's around major issues that everyday people participate in, like elections, like being able to not fall for scams online. That trust and safety element is going to get even more challenging, and we need to be able to verify and store information. And this is where blockchain and all these projects around me really offer is different abilities to verify different proof points.
Good points. Okay, so you're okay.
I think this is enough.
Okay, that's a good point. Thank you. Okay, so that was an insightful discussion, right? Okay, and so to dig deeper again, let's examine the specific layers of AI tech stack. We usually divide the AI tech stack into data layer, model layer, and application layer, right? Okay, so let's start with the data layer. Is that okay? Data layer, okay? Okay, so it's for Brendan and Clara. Yeah, okay, data layer. So this question, what do you think is the most important aspect to data layer in the decentralization process? And how are Filecoin and Masa addressing this?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in my introduction, we are the largest decentralized storage network out there. And so we really provide storage instead of relying on a centralized provider. As Brendan mentioned, Amazon, Google, one of the large companies out there, we offer people the opportunity to store in a decentralized way. And this is really useful if you've ever done video streaming or anything that requires high computing power, having a server that is much closer to you versus being a lot farther away has huge benefits, and that's what decentralized storage really allows. In fact, we actually piloted our technology with Lockheed Martin in space, because if you imagine two servers between satellites in space, you normally, in a centralized server, would have to send that data back down to Earth and then back up to another satellite. And with decentralized storage, you can send it between the two satellites. And so we've been working with groups like Lockheed Martin to really test our technology in places where you can even visually see the opportunities in it.
Yeah, so from my perspective, what's very, very interesting at the moment, especially as LLMs become increasingly commoditized, we see performance across the board from Llama 3, which is open source, to Anthropic Claude, to GPT-4, all kind of trending towards a singularity of IQ. Like over the next 9 months, we're just going to see massive improvements in IQ of models. It's going to reach a limit where you're constrained not by model performance, but by relevancy of the data that you're putting into the model. Whether that be contextual information that's real time, like what is happening today around you that allows you to have an intelligent conversation with whatever agent is you're interacting with. And for this, we believe that there is this absolute burning need for accessing real-time data. It's great getting your training data set, spending a lot of money on compute and having almost like a fixed point in time around the context of your model from a baseline perspective, but it's going to be increasingly important as companies need to differentiate themselves, become more competitive to ensure that data is relevant, current, and up to date. Something as simple as like, what is the weather today? So you can get a relevant recommendation on what you should wear when you walk out the door from your AI agent. There's so many examples where the current information is missing and absolutely vital in the application. So that's where we're really focused very heavily at the moment.
Great. So we know the model layer also presents unique challenges and opportunities. And then this question is for Nicholas and Clara. In the model layer, what do you think are the biggest challenges in decentralizing training, model distribution, and GPU networks? What are the biggest innovations from Filecoin and DePHY in the area?
That's a really big question. I think something I really think like decentralized AI can offer is like, while I was doing my PhD in AI, like something we were thinking about is like personalized AI models in the future. So think about like everyone who can have their own like personalized AI, basically AI assistant, and to giving you personalized advice into anything about yourself, like your personal health, your personal relationship, everything. And so for that, I think decentralized AI can really help. How we do that is like, so like how DeFi is contributing to that is like, so basically right now people are talking about the base models for AIs like the ChatGPT or Claudia, all those base models. And something people are talking about is RAG models. So RAG models are basically fine-tuned AI models with extra data into the specific niche area that you want to have more emphasis on, for example, fitness of human. And something DeFi is contributing to that is because people are building a decentralized Apple Health on our platform. So people are basically manufacturing those Apple Watch, not Apple Watch, like watches that can record your health data. And so they are building the decentralized Apple Health using DeFi, and there's companies who are buying those data. And for those data, we can use that to train, add that data to a base model like ChatGPT, and to train for personalized AI health model. And so that's how DeFi contributed into that. And I think how Web3 can contribute even more is if there's a way that we can embed those models into, like, for example, like NFTs to track the usage and utilities of those models. Because I think in the near future, everyone can contribute to their own data to create their own model. So creators need to monetize their own models, and how they can do that is through NFTs or any token incentives. I'm sure there's going to be like a AI marketplace like similar to Binance, but in Web3 in the near future. That's basically for creators to monetize their AI models. That's my thought.
Oh yeah, and back then,
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to the next question, okay? So after examining the data and model layer, at last, let's turn to application layer.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the application layer, what do you think is the biggest issue MagnetAI aims to solve?
Okay, so definitely the funding and profit issue for AI creators. We just found that there are like nearly 700K open source models listed on OpenSea, and they all face like super huge problems on the financial and funding on their initial stages, and millions AI creators around the world. They are trying to like expand their AI product, attract more users. So what we provide is we provide a way to let the ModelFi protocol, to let the AI creators can tokenize their AI models. And how the users get into it is to trade their model tokens, and then they can share a super long-term revenue or other like ownership rights, right? So this is definitely where main target.
Cool. Okay, so to summarize, the move towards decentralizing AI infrastructure is driven by the need of more secure, efficient, and equitable AI solutions. By leveraging decentralized network like Filecoin, Masa, and DePHY, we can unlock the full potential of AI while ensuring user data remains private and secure. So we hope today's discussion has provided valuable insights into the future of decentralized AI. So thank you all for being here and sharing your points today.